Zhang Yi continued, from my observation of the footprints on the ground, it seems the corpses moved on their own. Even though Zhang Yi spoke very calmly, after he said this, the atmosphere in the room seemed to become colder. Zhou Kur, with a pale face, hugged Yang Xia. Zhang Yi, don't joke like this. It's too scary. Su Chunlei swallowed and asked Zhang Yi, boss, did you clear all the corpses and then pretend to scare us? Zhang Yi shook his head. I don't want to believe it either, but the truth is right before our eyes. You can check for yourselves. No one had noticed the corpses outside had disappeared when they woke up in the morning. They hurriedly gathered by the window, and sure enough, there wasn't a single corpse in sight. Zhang Yi calmly said, let's finish our meal first. After that, whoever wants can come outside with me to see what happened. I found tracks in the snow. If we follow them, we can find some clues. Zhou Kur was stunned, her eyes full of horror and her mind in chaos. How is that possible? Everyone looked at Zhang Yi, hoping this was just a weird joke. Therefore, Zhang Yi's proposal received unanimous agreement. The Xishan area was their territory now. Any suspicious event needed to be clarified to avoid major trouble later. So, they quickly finished their breakfast, and then Zhang Yi called some key members to prepare their gear and follow the tracks to investigate. This unexpected event made everyone cautious. They weren't afraid of those who created force but held a wary attitude towards mysterious things. Since the apocalypse began, more and more inexplicable things had appeared. This even reminded Zhang Yi of a hypothesis from books. In years of calamity, demons and ghosts would appear. Upon careful observation, Zhang Yi noticed the group didn't use vehicles but proceeded carefully following the still distinct footprints in the thick falling snow. Everyone's mood became urgent. Perhaps now they were all worried about encountering these strange corpses. Zhang Yi took a deep breath. Let's drive. It seems they traveled far during the night. They continued their journey, not knowing how long they had been walking. The footprints on the ground disappeared, but they also didn't see any corpses. This made them more convinced that the corpses had walked here on their own. Although everyone was wearing combat gear, in the snowy environment, they still felt uncomfortable. After driving for a few dozen minutes, they finally arrived at the place where the footprints disappeared. Zhang Yi and everyone got out of the car and quickly moved forward. Ahead, they saw a large, deep cave on the snow. The cave entrance was pitch black and bottomless, emitting no light at all. An eerie atmosphere seemed to engulf everything. Zhang Yi couldn't help but swallow, then quietly stepped back a few steps. Su Chunlei looked at Uncle Wu and exclaimed, "What's happening with these corpses? Why are they gathering here?" Uncle Wu also found it strange. Could it be that someone has the ability to control these strange corpses? Liang Yu couldn't help but ponder, but controlling thousands of corpses to move this far is truly a terrifying and unusual ability. The scene suddenly fell silent. After the apocalypse, over 10 million people in the city had died. If someone could control such a large number of corpses, they could easily destroy any force. Su Chunlei trembled. Could this be a sign of a zombie outbreak? He had watched many zombie movies, and the image of zombies surrounding a city was deeply ingrained in his mind. However, Zhang Yi shook his head. I actually hope it's just that. He looked at Su Chunlei with a crooked smile. You don't really think there are zombies like in the movies that could pose a huge threat to us, do you? Zhang Yi touched a footprint in the snow and analyzed. Moreover, this isn't scientific. With such low temperatures, the corpses would stiffen. How could they move like normal people? Look at those chaotic footprints. They certainly weren't dancing here. Uncle Wu looked around the tall buildings and slowly confirmed his hypothesis. I know this place. I've been here before. The area we're standing on is directly above a subway station. Everyone looked down at their feet. Zhang Yi immediately understood. I see. This means the corpses really used the station to enter the subway tunnel, right? The subway was originally underground and now buried under thick snow, so where they stood was about 30 meters higher. No wonder it looked like a deep cave. Liang Yu frowned. If that's the case, is there something in the subway tunnel controlling these corpses? Uncle Wu looked at Zhang Yi and asked, Zhang Yi, how should we handle this place? If someone can control the corpses, they surely control more than just 1,000. The number could be unimaginable. If that person becomes our enemy, it will be very difficult to deal with. Su Chunlei suggested, should we destroy this place to prevent them from attacking us from underground? Uncle Wu replied thoughtfully, Su Chunlei, do you know how extensive the subway network in the city is? How could you possibly destroy the entire subway system? At this moment, Zhang Yi spoke up, for now, we don't need to worry about them. We haven't had any conflicts with them, and we shouldn't actively seek contact. In the future, stay away from this place, no one should come near it. As Zhang Yi spoke, he gestured for everyone to retreat. The deep subway could hide great dangers, so Zhang Yi instructed everyone to stay away from this place in the future. No one should come near unless absolutely necessary. Zhang Yi wouldn't lead his people in just to investigate that area. Liang Yu frowned and asked, so, we're just going to leave these mysteries here? Zhang Yi smiled enigmatically, just leave it be. If anything happens, the ones who will have headaches won't be us. Uncle Wu said, the city's subway system is extensive, connecting the whole city. Our estate is on the outskirts of the city, nearby. If anything happens, dismantling it is an option. However, in the territories of other forces, the railway network is more complex and populated. If something unusual occurs, they will be the first to suffer. Let's go, don't worry about it anymore. Zhang Yi slowly retreated and returned home. At Zhang Yi's old apartment, they were greeted by a man in a red Taoist robe, Zhao Jianhua, a member of the Baishua sect, who appeared in the snowstorm. Leaning on his staff, only 18 people were still alive in the apartment complex. They had survived by using the bodies of the dead and the sacrificial abilities of Li Jian to grow food. However, the decision to use ice crystals to awaken powers led them to join the Baishua sect. When Zhao Jianhua arrived, Li Jian and the residents quickly came out to greet him. Li Jian spoke excitedly, his eyes full of sincerity, greetings, Zhao Jianhua. At that time, this was still the territory of the Shishan base. They didn't dare to stay too long, and the preaching had to be done in secret. But now, the three major bases have been damaged or weakened. They can only retract, and Baishua sect no longer needs to hide its teachings. Zhao Jianhua looked at Li Jian and smiled, Li Jian, the snow god has bestowed you with power, and it seems you've used it well. Li Jian bowed deeply. I praise the snow god, I praise the almighty leader. I thank you, Zhao Jianhua, for helping me receive the blessings of the leader. Now we can survive. Zhao Jianhua nodded with a smile. His gaze shifted from Li Jian to Li Jian's son, Li Kai. He continued, now, I have good news for you. You have been granted permission by the leader to join us in the Tianfeng area. There, you will live together with the leader and all the followers. Upon hearing Zhao Jianhua's words, Li Jian and everyone else looked bewildered. Although that place wasn't far, they were accustomed to their current life. They didn't wish to change their situation hastily. In times of apocalypse, every uncertainty was fearsome. Seeing his hesitation, Zhao Jianhua continued, don't be afraid. It is a paradise in these apocalyptic times. All members of the Baishua sect are there, supporting each other, building a strong community. In the near future, that place will become a society beyond imagination, unaffected by the apocalypse. You have been chosen and deemed worthy to live there. I have told the leader about you, Li Jian. She highly appreciates your abilities and considers you an indispensable part of the Baishua sect. Li Jian was stunned and couldn't believe what he had just heard. Zhao Jianhua kept persuading Li Jian, so, if you agree, you and your family will receive special care. Li Jian was surprised by this offer. Someone like him being directly named by the leader was indeed a great honor. Now, everyone in the area greatly admired the Baishua sect, seeing it as a holy land. They had survived to this day thanks to the leader's blessings, which had awakened Li Jian's special abilities. Overwhelmed with emotion, Li Jian knelt before Zhao Jianhua. I honor the great snow god. I honor the beloved leader. I, Li Jian, vow to dedicate my strength to the Baishua sect. Zhao Jianhua was very pleased with Li Jian's attitude. Stand up. Gather your family and your daily necessities and follow me to the Baishua sect. Everyone was overjoyed. They packed their clothes and food, and the remaining survivors in the building, full of hope, followed Zhao Jianhua to the Baishua sect. The journey to the Grand Cathedral was quite far, but fortunately, their hope for a bright future helped them endure the snowstorm. The Baishua sect was currently experiencing unprecedented prosperity, with more and more people joining the sect. The priests and ministers maintained order, distributing food and clothes to the new members, while also imparting the teachings of the Baishua sect. Li Jian and his group arrived and witnessed many unfamiliar things. However, he didn't pay much attention. He and his family were immersed in the joy of joining this envisioned society. Zhao Jianhua said to Li Jian, follow me. Li Jian, the leader wants to meet you. Li Jian was surprised but also worried about his wife and son. What about my wife and son? Zhao Jianhua smiled and replied, "Don't worry, they will be well taken care of." Hearing this, Li Jian felt truly reassured. His wife encouraged him, being summoned by the leader is an honor. "You should go. We will wait here." Li Jian nodded, under the admiring gazes of those around him. He followed Zhao Jianhua toward the grand cathedral. The others were led elsewhere by nuns with bright smiles. As the large doors of the cathedral opened, Li Jian looked inside with reverence. Outside, the sky was filled with dark clouds, but inside, the cathedral seemed to be bathed in a holy light, with the altar as the only place shining brilliantly. He saw a woman in a red clerical robe standing there, her back turned to him, exuding an air of authority. He thought to himself, the leader is a woman? Sensing Li Jian's doubt, Zhao Jianhua cleared his throat and said, "The deity is present everywhere. The image of the deity transforms endlessly and is determined by faith. Therefore, there's no need to concern yourself with such details." Li Jian quickly replied, "Yes, I understand." He understood everything clearly. However, Li Jian was a smart person, he never exposed these thoughts. He was grateful for the blessings of the Baishue sect, but that didn't mean he blindly believed in them. He kept such thoughts to himself without speaking them aloud. Li Jian bowed his head. "Greetings, esteemed leader. I have received the leader's grace and survived to this day. I am Li Jian." Yuan Kongye took a step towards Li Jian. "I have heard about you. Zhao Jianhua has told me. You are a hopeful being blessed by the deity and granted power. From now on, you will be a minister of the Baishue sect. The divine has guided you here, and you also have a mission to fulfill." Li Jian felt his blood boil. He was chosen by the snow god, he had a special mission. Li Jian shouted, "I am willing to dedicate myself fully to the Baishue sect." Yuan Kongye nodded in satisfaction. "Good, follow me." With that, she turned and walked toward the back of the cathedral. At that moment, Li Jian didn't know what he was doing. All he could see was Yuan Kongye, and he knew he had to follow her. When Li Jian regained some consciousness, he found himself in a strange place. A giant plant, about 5 to 6 meters tall, stood before him. The stem gently expanded and contracted as if it were breathing. The entire building was covered with small fragments of this plant. Its leaves were coiled in a bizarre manner, resembling the cocoons of butterflies, as if something was contained inside them. Li Jian's eyes widened, his mouth agape. He had never seen such a strange and gigantic plant before. Yuan Kongye stood before the plant, explaining to him, "This is the sacred tree of the Baishue sect. It can root itself hundreds of meters deep into the ground to absorb nutrients and then produce fruit. The fruit it bears is our most important food source." As Yuan Kongye spoke, she slowly raised her hand. A vine from the tall plant lowered, dropping a red fruit into her palm. The plant seemed to possess its own intelligence. Only now did Li Jian understand where the red fruit he had seen before had come from. Yuan Kongye approached him. She handed the fruit to him and smiled. "This is our hope for survival. Would you like to try it?"